Peace, everybody. Haven't made a video in a while, but I'm back in Pensacola. I had a great time with the Archangel Raphael, my twin flame. This camera angle is just going to do what it does, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So, the rest of this, well, not the rest of this, but this video is going to be a continuation of the planets through all the signs, or where I go through each sign and I just talk about each planet in that particular sign and everything like that. So, this is how it's going to play out. We're in Gemini right now as far as the planets that or as far as the signs that I'm discussing. We're in Gemini right now. So Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury, and the planet Mercury is going to be dealing with everything when as far as taking notes, information, research, debates, or just conversation in general. So these aspects are going to be ruling in the Gemini aspect. Now, Gemini is also a masculine energy, meaning that this is like the external communication. This is actually, Gemini is actually the sign of, real, sales communication, real, like an actual salesman or a car salesman, or, someone knocking on your door and actually communicating with actual verbal words using your voice box to be able to communicate a message. And Gemini, like I said, this is the masculine side. Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, but Virgo is the feminine, the masculine. The receiving, the internal. This is like whenever you have your own thoughts and whenever you go into your mind and start to think and ponder on particular things. With Gemini, the masculine side, this would be communications. This would be actual conversations. The modality and the mode that this is in, as far as the air, because this is also an air element sign, which air is dealing with, conversations, communication, thinking, ideas, and all that sort of things and everything like that. And the discussion and actual pinpointing of certain things that aren't there, and bringing this into an external vision. So when we get to mutable, which this is the modality of Gemini, mutable is going to be whenever you are the chameleon of this element. So Geminis are the social chameleons. They can blend into any environment that they can and everything like that. This is why if you have a Gemini who's a close friend, particularly in this case a sun sign Gemini, or even a moon sign or a Mercury Gemini, or any planet with Gemini, you notice that you could be the best of friends with this person, but the minute that they're around someone that they're also close to, they may play up this kind of like switch up kind of two-faced energy, and that's where that rep for Gemini comes from. But it's just because it's mutable air, so they're the chameleons and everything like that. They like to go to each and every other individual and communicate with each of these people in a very detached and a very lighthearted kind of manner. And it's also ruled by aspects of the third house, which is dealing with the first languages you learned, your siblings, your friend group, the first house you lived in. Well, that would be actually more so the fourth house combined with the third house. Okay, now getting into the planets. The sun. Now, the sun is dealing with, being seen, your vitality, your creativity, your actions, also dealing with being the center of the attention and everything, and also your broad circumference of consciousness in this particular area. So when you have the sun in Gemini, this is like your overall conscious awareness of what's going on. This is the vitality that you have. You have all the vitality and you have all the energy source in the world to conversate with everybody. You're known by other people, and you're seen by other people as being, the social butterfly, the person that can talk and communicate and be friends with just about damn near everybody. But you can also be seen as somebody, and you may even look at yourself as like, well, damn, should I have done that? Should I have really acted this way? AKA the sun actions. Should I have acted this way because I was with this particular person and they swayed me and I was able to adapt to their own way of conversating and thinking? It plays out like that kind of energy also. Now with the moon in Gemini, the moon will be dealing more so with your maternal, emotional, feminine, caring side, your defensive side also. So you're very defensive and you're very caring, you're very nurturing when it comes to, knowledge, information, knowing knowing a bunch of different things, knowing a bunch of different people in a lot of different ways. You knowing and you having that sense of comfort from your friends and everything like that, that will make you the most comfortable that you've ever been in your whole life. You know what I'm saying? This is the carriage that you're in whenever you're sleeping. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you know that you're around people that you're familiar with, when you're around people that you have a sense of, okay, I could talk to just about damn near everybody that I'm around, you're good. You're golden. Now with Mercury in Gemini. Now, Mercury is at home in Gemini. This is the masculine side too. So people with Mercury and Gemini can talk about anything and not get tired. They also have a tendency to overlap on their words sometimes, or overlap in their conversations, because since Mercury is there, it has the ability to actually, just be comfortable. If it forgets something, and if it forgets one idea, it could just be like, okay, on to the next and everything. You know what I mean? And then with Mercury and Gemini too, you may have one thought and it may blend in with another thought and everything, because you're adapting so much in an airy, in a cloudy way, in a lot of different ways. That it could just, like, the thoughts could just blend in with each other. Now when we get to Venus, which is a transit we're dealing with now, Venus and Gemini, these are people who are very loving, and people who are very nurturing when it comes to the five senses, kind of like the sensation of learning something new. Mutable air. So if you're reading in a book, and you just learn something new every single time, you get a sensation, you get like a rush just from learning new things, just from picking up a new book and everything like that. You get a sense of sensation, and then you like the aesthetics of the book, because Venus is dealing with aesthetics. You like the aesthetics of the knowledge and the adaptable knowledge that you can gain. Other people's ways of communicating. You have a sense of like, wow, I really appreciate the way this man is kicking this knowledge to me and everything like that. Venus and Gemini plays out in a lot of different ways too, and the love of knowledge in general, and the love of being able to see other people's points of views when it comes to particular circumstances. Now when we get to Mars in Gemini, with Mars in Gemini, Mars is the warrior, the passion seeker. This is the sexual drive too, in a lot of different ways. With Gemini being the mutable air aspect, Mars, with Mars and Gemini, you go to war for other people's ways of thinking and everything, even your own way. You go to war for your own self whenever people think that you're being two-faced. It's like, no, it's like you're very passionate about, like, no, I just like to be friends with everybody. I just like to adapt with everybody. You're definitely much a warrior, and you get very aggressive when people point the finger at you in that kind of way too. Try to fix this. You get aggressive with people who try to point the finger at you too, when it comes to that actual degree of how that goes and everything. So with that being said in that way, with Mars and Gemini, you like to fight for other people's freedom to be able to say what they want, and be able to be adaptable, and be able to say what they want around other people and not be judged and everything. That's how it can play out too. Now with Jupiter and Gemini, Jupiter is the exact opposite of is the exact opposite of Gemini, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the opposite of Gemini. So with Jupiter is how you see the overall broad perspective of a situation. This is travel energy. This is philosophy, wisdom, guru energy. So with Jupiter and Gemini, you may think that you know a lot. You may feel like you know a lot of shit, or that you're wise because you've read a lot of books and everything like that, or you've talked to a lot of different people about particular experiences and everything like that. But what you have to learn is that you're not going to be able to get the full, satisfaction of Jupiter and Gemini if you don't travel yourself. And it could be very difficult to travel with Jupiter and Gemini. You may get confused because you're so specific about particular things that you can't just enjoy the experience, because you're so worried and expanding too much on the little details, because the third house also deals with the details. Gemini also deals with the details. Now with Saturn in Gemini, this is going to be like, Saturn is, reaping and sowing, gardening, planting the seed, the actual seed itself, the blueprint, foundation, structure, rebelliousness when it comes to the Aquarian side. strictness. So you're very strict when it comes to, and this is also how you see the reality of particular things and how you gain structure in your life. So you like to, you like to make sense truly out of, different knowledge that you obtain and everything. All these different books that you may read, it's just like, how does this make sense? How am I going to be able to apply this in my real life? How am I going to be able to apply this to the everyday things that I go about in my everyday life and everything when you have Saturn and Gemini? So that's how it plays out too. And then, the way that you see reality is I have to read a bunch of books. I have to talk to a bunch of different people. I have to shake a bunch of different people's hands to be able to know how to go about these particular situations and everything so that I can be founded and grounded within my own self. With Uranus in Gemini. Now, with Uranus in Gemini, this is more generational energy. This will be in the next few years, actually. But with Uranus in Gemini, this is going to be dealing with energies of, there's going to be a lot of rebelliousness when it comes to the books and the informations and people's ways of adapting to other people's knowledge. That's going to be seen as rebellious to other people in this particular generation of Uranus and Gemini. But it gets very hazy because we haven't been in that particular period yet. But with Uranus and Gemini, that would be how it could play out. But definitely a lot of change when it comes to the books and to the particular knowledge that's being put out on the internet even is going to change drastically too. Now with Neptune in Gemini. With Neptune in Gemini, this is going to be a generational thing too. This is going to be many, many, many years down the line. With Neptune in Gemini, it basically plays out to where people, people have so much imagination that they're going to write down their imagination onto a book or on a piece of paper for other people to be able to see this particular actual, because people are going to be able to adapt to this particular dream. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be able to be on the same page when it comes to imagination and even illusions. People are going to be able to see the same illusions with each other too, because it's also going to be within a neighborhood aspect also. Pluto. Now with Pluto in Gemini, this is, one second. With Pluto in Gemini, sorry about that. We're going to be dealing with, a lot of transformation. We're going to be dealing with a lot of death. We're going to be dealing with a lot of power and control. We're going to be dealing with a lot of dark, deep things when it comes to the knowledge that's going to be put out by, anybody, just when it comes to people on the internet, the masses, own independent or own individual people and everything, you know what I'm saying? So Pluto in Gemini is going to change a lot of information, and people are going to look at knowledge in a whole different aspect too at the same time. Now with the Ascendant, finally the Ascendant in Gemini, this is just your personality. This is other people's first impression of you, and this is how people are going to be able to see you in general. So how other people see you is people have seen you as a brainiac. People see you as a very knowledgeable person. People see you as a very smart intellectual person at the same time. People's first impression of you is that you may be, a scientist or a know-it-all and everything like that, or someone who doesn't know how to, keep to themselves because it's mutable air. So you may be too curious. You may appear too curious to other people, and that this is other people's reaction to you and everything like that. This is other people's first impressions, like, oh, this person's too curious and everything. So, but the things that you're personally into is knowledge, books, research, talking to other people, and knowing other people to be able to gain a whole broad perspective of a particular situation, which is also that relationship and that energy with Gemini and Sagittarius, so that they can all come together and be one energy. Peace, y'all. And hit up onelovejaw@gmail.com for readings. Peace.